listening to this in the background, but I really hope that there's something that you can take with to shift. Now, what does it take to play a bigger game? I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves. What does it take to play a bigger game? And if you've done my presentation skills or sales presentation skills or any of my courses, you know I love a hook. You always hook the audience in. And last year with my women's talks, I would always start with that same sentence. What does it take to play a bigger game? And what started happening, because with the repetition it kind of sticks to people, and what started happening, a lot of my colleagues or women who I coach or delegates, they would message me or they would say to me, but how do we play bigger? And it's almost like sometimes we feel our conditioning is holding us back a little bit, but how do we step into that uncomfortable space of growth more and more and more? So this is the big question. How do we play bigger and persuade better? Okay, so we're going to get into that. I'm going to give you great tactics and strategies. If we haven't met, hello. So nice to meet you. I'm Ursula, and my mission is really to help you to improve your communication skills, to master your communication skills. It's a skill, and skills can only get better when we work them like muscles, so that you can make that impact, grow in your organization, grow in your career, grow your own business. Because I know on this call we have entrepreneurs, we have women working at incredible organizations, and we have women who are working in incredible organizations and having side hustles, and it's amazing. So why are you here? That's the first question I have for you to answer for yourself, to set an intention, strong intention. What is your bigger game that you're going to play? That space of discomfort. Now, I know for some of you it looks like getting that new position, growing in your career, getting that other position. Perhaps it's about having that conversation for your increase, negotiating the increase and going back to the table and keeping asking for that increase. Perhaps it's about you starting your side hustle, starting your own business. Whatever it is, or applying for the job that you feel 60% ready for. And you know that statistic. The statistic, I'm just going to ask everyone to mute themselves. The statistic that says women only, I'm just going to find and mute. I don't know how to mute. So anyways, women, is everyone muted? So women only apply for positions that they feel like 90% ready for, where men do the 60% one. So how do we get uncomfortable and shift ourselves? So we're going to look at these two things. The one is, how do we play bigger and persuade better? I want to get into the persuasion. First, I'm going to make sure everyone's muted. Just give me 1 second. Is there like a button where I can just mute everybody? Because that would be
Ursula,
one.
go to your tabby on your participants list right at the bottom.
Mute all.
Yes.
You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. One woman helping another woman out. Okay. Thank you, Joey. Okay, so we're going to look at where we can play bigger. We're going to look at where we can persuade better. And so now I'm out of my system. And how we can persuade better. Now, persuasion is really great. Wow. Persuasion is not about manipulation, so I just want to position that. We like persuasion. Persuasion is like you getting what you want. It's you getting the buy-in, you getting that growth, you kind of getting other people to see your views. It's you getting your child to eat vegetables because it's good for them. Today we're going to look at that, but I'm also going to look at how you can start persuading yourself and get buy-in of yourself, because that's often where we get that little block. So what is the big fat problem. What is the big fat problem? The big fat problem is the opposite of the confident voice is the small voice, right? And I'm reading a book called Playing Bigger, Tara Moore. And she speaks about, and we know this, but I want to remind us because this is the thing that we're like almost fighting against. It's the voice of the inner critic. So the inner critic is the one who goes, this is not safe, or, you're going to embarrass yourself. I hear that one a lot. So many of my clients go, I'm going to embarrass myself. So what? It's the one that says, if you say no, you're going to sound difficult, right? We're so pleasing. It's that inner one, that inner critic voice. So we have to kind of just hear her, call her out, see her for what she does. There is the excuses voice. There is the blame voice, not having the resources, our kids, our partners. I am focusing on my notes. There's the over-responsible voice. Often when we look at our responsibilities to everyone else, instead of putting ourselves first and coming from that really strong and stable place. And then the other voice that I know so many of you know, which one is that? That is the imposter voice. And the imposter voice basically says, I'm a fraud, they're going to catch me out. And I've had that so many times when I'm selling to a new client, onboarding someone new in terms of workshops and things, and going, ooh, are they going to catch me out? So let's see. Today I'm going to give you 10 big breaks. 10 big breaks to play a bigger game and persuade better. Now, I've gone with the whole big break idea because from the acting industry. In the acting industry, we always spoke about your big break. It's that one break you needed to launch you, okay, to like be on that big stage. And often it's not the one big break, it's the tiny, all the little moments, the little commercial here, the voice over there, the workshop there. It's all the little pieces that turns into that big break. So I'm going to give you 10 things to shift into your big break, but it's actually your small steps. Okay, so I hope you are ready. If you want to get a pen and a paper out, you can make some notes. Otherwise, I will share with you an email that's going to come out tomorrow with the list of the 10 big breaks and an exercise because it's very, very powerful. Okay, here we go. The first big break. It's called Play the Movie. Okay, and this is from, again, it's perhaps a bit of the acting background, but this goes deeply into identity work. And this is also very deeply with what Tara Moore gives into how to tame the inner critic. And playing the bigger movie is guided by one question. And that question is, what would the most empowered version of me do? What would the most empowered version of me do? What would she wear? What would she dress? How would she handle this? How would she approach the situation? What does she do over the weekends? And then we want to tap into that inner voice, that inner guidance, and our visualization. And I always say in my courses, if you've done them, we always start with that business. Yes. That's what her inner voice is saying, the empowered voice. So I always do this, take this part of like, if sports people have to visualize, if elite athletes have to visualize, and the studies have shown the impact that visualization has on the performance, because the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what you see in your mind's eye. So we can use this. And so when you just start playing those little movies of you running your business, of you writing that book, playing those movies. I know it sounds woo-woo, but sports people can do this. We can do this too. And you can ask her to guide you. Keep asking, what would she do? What would she do? Little example. I had one weekend where I had a lot of things happening. It was like a lot to navigate. And I was like wrapping my brain around how I'm going to go from this place to that place to that place to that place. And the night before that day, I went, what would the most empowered version of me do? How would she move through this day? Not joking. I saw myself wearing a yellow dress, which was not the outfit I'd planned, because obviously I'd planned an outfit. Well, that was not the outfit. And the next morning I thought, well, I saw the vision, let me just wear the yellow dress. From the moment I got to my first venue, to the second venue, to the third venue, I got stopped left, right, and center about this dress. I've worn that dress before. Nobody's ever stopped me about that dress. And that was like that little intuition going, you played the movie, you got the intuition, and it's almost like the universe said, you're on the right path. So I play the movie, and who knows, she might tell you what to wear, or she might tell you who to speak to. So that is playing the movie game. Let's go play it. What would the most empowered version of you do? Now, the big break, number 2, is environment. This comes from Malcolm Gladwell. He's got the 21 laws of leadership. And actually in the 15 laws, he also has the 21 laws, he has the 15 laws. And this law is in both of them. It's like in his top 5, and it's the law of environment. And he says growth thrives in, I can't read my handwriting, in conducive surroundings. That's it. So your growth thrives in the surrounding that nurtures it. So it's like the great soil. And here's the question to ask ourselves is, am I in an environment that's growing me? Are the people around me inspiring me? So when I started my business, I didn't really have examples of women who are doing what I'm wanting to do. So I found some examples. I found Nikki Bush and I found Tiffany Markman, and I started just like researching them, looking at them, going, oh, they are running their own businesses in training and in a career that I want to follow. And then I found that they are part of an association. And I joined the association. And these women have become my mentors, my colleagues, my community. And this space has become a catalyst of growth. So what are the spaces you can start moving in? And what are the conversations you'd love to have? And with who do you want to have them? So one of the organizations I work with, they're all about their strategic coffees. They love their strategic coffees and reaching out and having their networking coffees. So my question to you is like, who's in your coffee that you've been reaching out with? Like what's coming up for you? And this takes us to the third point, your big break number 3, which is better conversations. Okay, so now that you all like scheduling your coffees, how can we have better coffees? How can we have better conversations? I had a conversation with someone. She'd reached out to me for something, and I assumed it would be relating to something. And after about an hour and a half coffee, I finally figured out her agenda, and it was nothing that I thought it was. So how can we just be more effective and not talk without getting to the point? Okay, so here is the strategy, the tool, the technique, and it's wonderful. And it's just, you start the conversation with why. Before you have that meeting, that engagement, you just ask yourself, why do you want to talk to this person? Like, what is your intention for this conversation? And it's very nice to then go into that conversation, and you can you small talk, how's the weather? Blah, blah, blah. What did you do for the holidays? What book are you reading? You're just building rapport, like la, 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 la. And then you want to shift gears. Shift those gears, and then you go, okay, why are we talking? Do you want to go first or should I go first? So now you're giving both voice to say, like, what do you want to get out of this? And I can give you 2 examples. I did this with Johan Stein, my friend Danita, who's on here today. She's like my most incredible support. So Danita said, Ush, You have to meet Johan Stein. I have to connect the two of you because I've seen him a few times. You must meet Johan. And so she connected us, him and I connect, and we set up a coffee. And before going, I think, what am I going to say to this guy? I don't know why I'm talking to him. So I did the exercise. Why are we talking? And we got on the call. I said, Johan, and we small talk. And then I said, why are we talking? I'll go first. I'd really like to build an ally. Like, the speaking industry is tough. We don't need to do it alone. And perhaps there's a friendship or something that can come from this. Let's see. And Johan has become actually a great ally in my circle. And it was just quite intentional, not transactional. The intention was set. All right, so why are we talking? I want you to try it. Just try it. You might be like, just try it in your next conversation and see what happens. But then you need to know why you're talking as well. Okay, so big break number 4 is get visible. Get visible. This is the thing we're fighting. A lot of women are fighting. It's so we play small, and playing small is like we hide our achievements, we hide our presence. We don't want to, attract attention. So Tara Moore in her book, she says, listen to this line, just do good work versus do good work and make it visible. There's a powerful and. Make your work visible. And there is a nice way you can do this. It's called the humble brag. So it's about sharing your wins. And I think it's uncomfortable because we haven't normalized sharing our wins, sharing the value that we bring. But making ourselves visible means we are sharing our value. We sometimes buy into the script that our work should speak for itself. And that's not true, because silence is silence. Nobody sees that. And so what you could always do, the humble brag, is to just how you frame things. So you share the win and you can say, let me share a recent win. I'll just make it very real. You can say, so recently I got my coaching accreditation. So I'm a Commensa accredited coach, and that process has been so good for my confidence because it taught me how to really be in alignment and confirm that I'm in alignment with the standards of the profession. So you can share it as a lesson. Share it as, this is what something has taught me. Or, and that builds your credibility. Often when I start my courses, there's always the slide, and some of you know the slide where I share who I am, and I share my mission statement because I think it's really valuable to share like your mission, how you want to help people. And then I share kind of like some of the wins to position credibility, your competence, to make others trust you. And in it, I sometimes share the Speaker Factor competition that I won. And I always frame it to say, I know what it means to stand in front of your colleagues and be judged. Because in that day, they're going to stand in front of their colleagues and they're going to feel judged. And a few times people have come to me and they said, that was very helpful when you said that, because that helped us feel like you're in the arena. And believe me, trust me, it's cringe to share you won this award. It's cringe. But it helps, and once you make that shift, it could have impact. Your credibility and your competence has extra impact. That's the value. Okay, so what win can you start humble bragging on? And start thinking, like, where can you increase your visibility? If you're a business owner, what does that mean to you? Okay, so now we're going to, yay, we're almost halfway. We're going to go to big break number 5. And this is a nice one. So if you were not focusing, you can focus now. This is the only one you get out of the big breaks. This is a good one to get. And this speaks to persuasion. Again, some of you know it, and that's okay. And it's going to be reiterated for you. In persuasion, there is a study, the Ellen Langer study, that was done in the 1970s. A lot of FBI negotiators, they still talk about this. Persuasion 101, there's one word in persuasion you need to know, and that word is because. Because that is the magic word to persuasion. So it comes from the Ellen Langer study, where they wanted to see how to get buy-in. So they were in a photocopy machine room. Okay, a photocopy machine room, and they wanted to know, like, what would happen if you don't give a reason to cut the line. So they would use the sentence, hey, can I cut the line? And 60% of the time, it was like they didn't get compliance. So no, can't cut the line. What if you gave a reason? Hey, can I cut the line because my boss is going to fire me if I don't get this in the next 2 minutes? You don't want your friend to lose their jobs. Yeah, go. Okay, so 97% of the time, when you gave a good reason, because good reason, sharp, you got it. If you gave a bad reason, hey, can I cut the line because I want to cut the line? 94% of the time, people complied. Okay, that says something very interesting about human behavior and human hardwiring. What does it tell us? It tells us that often the reason is less important. The fact that you have a reason, good enough. The reason why this is important for you to know is because often we are trying so hard to justify, to validate our things to people, to try and get buy-in. And because we're trying too hard, it kind of shows. And we lose our messaging and we lose the importance of something. You can just say, hey, I want to talk to you about this because it's important, because it matters, because it links to our growth. So instead of over justifying yourself, the pure fact that you're saying because something, you are good. You are good. No more over justifying. All right. Who's going to use this one? Who's going to start using this one? You can, the one exercise one, I think sums up. Somebody said in one of our workshops, they said, I want new shoes. And then the next line they write, I want new shoes because my old ones don't fit me anymore. Sold, you're getting new shoes. Okay, but here is how I want you to shift this exercise. And I did this a lot when I started my business. And this is the exercise sheet I'm going to share with you. Is where we write out, and it's a journaling exercise, an area where you are struggling to persuade yourself why you are worthy of that next level, or that next growth, or that pay increase, or that business. So the exercise, for example, you'd write it out 20 times. I had to convince myself that I could have a newsletter. Okay, that was what I did. So I would write out 20 times. My community loves my newsletters because they're valuable. My community loves my newsletters because they get one new tip. My community loves my newsletter because it inspires them. And then you have to do that 20 times. You feel like you start making stuff up because they need to clear the inbox, whatever it is. But you need to do that exercise and like start searching for the becauses. I did that when I was selling my programs. I did that when I needed to, start getting clients. Shana, you're just the best. But you would start like convincing yourself. So I can ask for that pay rise because I give so much value to my business, to my company. I can nail this project because, and so you get buy-in from yourself. And that is the thing that's going to shift everything. Okay. I'm excited for you to get that worksheet, and I'm excited to hear what you had to because and how you reached your next level. Okay. So the next one is the big break number 6 is systems. systems. We love a good system. Every night before I go to bed, I put my running clothes or my gym clothes out. That's a system. And if I don't do that system, guess what? I either don't go run, or it takes me like 20, 30 minutes longer to get dressed, and then I miss the run. Okay. So a system sets you up for success. Okay. Here is a system I want you to bring into your life because it's powerful. It's the nervous system. And I want you to, let's regulate. I'm preaching to myself here a lot. We want to regulate this nervous system. So a big problem that we solve in presentation skills is speaking anxiety. So it just links to all things anxiety. And, it's the body in that fight or flight state. We also put so much pressure on ourselves. You're a woman who's come here to, play a bigger game, and I'm sure you're feeling the pressure. So we want to calm down the nervous system, and you can't calm down the nervous system by telling it to stop shaking, stop hyperventilating, stop rushing. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can breathe. You can do that. And that's how you get into your subconscious mind. That's how you calm down the system. Navy SEALs, they do box breathing. They slow it down. If you read my newsletter today, not that you had to, Shauna, but if you did, you know that it's all about slowing it all down. And my favorite practice is the somatic breathing, because somatic breathing releases tension on a sound vibration. So what it is you breathe in through the nose, and always through the nose, because you have filters that bring oxygen into the body, not through the mouth. And then you release it on a shh, shh, like telling a little child to shh. That's the release, shh. And you can do that 3 times, 5 times, morning, afternoon, evening. Some people I know schedule their alarms, like a little bell goes off and then they do their breathing. Other people link it with their meditation practice. I know some of us here, we love running. I think running helps it, but this is to actually on purpose and deliberately to bring in that breath. And I love sharing the story about one of the sessions I ran, one of the sales presentation sessions I ran. And it's a very charismatic, confident group. And the one guy was almost like the alpha male in the pack. And so everyone quite looked up to him. And when we got to the part about breathing and the somatic breathing, and where I share with them the practices, it was quite a beautiful moment. And I always share this because he raised his hand and he said, I do box breathing, very Navy SEAL of him. And he said, I go into the bathroom twice a day to literally do my box breathing. So box breathing is in, hold, out, hold. And that's the breath. And he said, I do this because it's a really high stake organization and I've got to be a top performer. And this just regulates me and it just keeps me like calmed down, grounded. So how can we keep grounding ourselves? Which brings us, so the question is, how can you perhaps start bringing in more breath into your day? And try the shh, because that releases it. Now, number 7 continues is vibes. Number 7 is vibes, because the voice is a set of vibrations. Okay, you're giving a vibe with your voice. It's a vibration. And this links beautifully with the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. It goes from the brain to the digestive system, to the stomach. Let me just look here. It connects the heart, the lungs, and the digestive system. The vagus nerve calms you down. It helps you digest your food. You know, when you're like, you have a queasy tummy, you're digesting the emotions. The vagus nerve is what controls your voice. So a lot of us have that shaky voice when we get nervous, or as women, we go into our head voice, and the head voice is very high, You go into little girl voice. Vagus nerve. This is what I want you to know. It loves warm tones. It loves the voice. You calm down the vagus nerve with music, with sound, with voice vibration. And it loves rhythmic, warm, low tones. Why this is really great for you to know is you can soothe yourself with humming, speaking in a low tone. This also links beautifully to persuasion. Chris Voss, who is the FBI negotiator, he always speaks about the late night DJ FM voice. And so in really high stake situations, you want to speak in that lower resonance because that creates safety for people. That is authority. That is, I know my stuff. And it also calms people down. This is not a performance voice, a put on voice. Oh, I'm going to go low and like it feels fake, because that can happen too. But I want to encourage you to play with that voice, to play with going into your lower registers, to play with soothing yourself with your voice, because that's the vibe and that is the vagus nerve. All right. And that is really you getting into your human mirroring social beingness. Okay. We are getting into big break number 8. The BGB. Big girl boundaries. Big girl boundaries. This is a favorite. Can always work. There's always boundary work to be done. And here's my tip. The method, the way to do a boundary. And you can write it down because it's good. Replace I can't with I don't. That's what you want to do. Replace I can't with I don't. I had to make a medical appointment with somebody last week, and I was trying to get a time, and she got back to me and she said, I don't work in the morning. Oh, no, she said, I don't work in the afternoon. Okay, she doesn't work in the afternoon. I was like, oh, okay, so I need to go check my mornings. What she also did next is she said, I don't work in the morning, I don't work in the afternoons, I do work on these days in the mornings. So that's what we can do. I don't have bandwidth to come to the kiddie party, but here's what I can do. I can pop in tomorrow and drop a present. So you can always, so it's kind of this balance. I don't do that. I don't have capacity. I don't have bandwidth. I don't have, so we don't have to try and be all these things to everybody. I don't have that, but here's what I can do. And now you give other people something to react to, and you show what you're capable of. And it's so kind to you and it's so kind to them. So just replace that I can't with I don't, because it's very firm, it's very strong, it's very clear. And here's what I can do. I do find that saying I can't sometimes triggering for some people. So we just say I don't. Okay, now we go into big break number 9. Nail your elevator pitch. Elevator pitch. This is the thing that trips most people up. When you go out to a networking event, or you meet someone new, or you're on a run, or whatever it is, people get so they don't like the question, hey, what do you do? Or sometimes you're not really good at saying what you actually do, positioning yourself for that next opportunity, that next something. So just a very easy elevator pitch, and make it repeatable. It's something you actually have to go practice, and it needs to be the same every single time. Well, you can tweak it a little bit depending on who you're talking to. So you want to go, I help, so that, So today I said, I help business professionals master their communication skills so that they can make an impact in their high stake moments. Actually, that's not what I said. That is what I usually say. And it can be tweaked according to who I'm talking to. Another thing that you could also bring in is your mission statement. Men do this very well. You know, they're on the mission. They talk about the mission. And it's really nice to bring in that language. I really like that. Encourage people to say, you know, my mission is to, you know, grow organizations, or my mission is to, you know, help with this thing, or increase sales, or, you know, what's that value thing? But that's the mission. And it's very clear. It's like there's this bigger vision with this mission. So that's very easy tweaks. And you can go do that exercise and play it on a friend. You know, I always thought my elevator pitch was so good until I shared it with another coach colleague, and he was like, no, that's not great. So just go play with it and let it work. I help so that. We're going to end early. We're at playing bigger, big break number 10, and that is to play this bigger game. Play smaller. Okay, to get to your big, hairy, audacious goals, I want to challenge you to not make it so scary that you don't know how to climb this mountain or tackle this thing. If you make it so big that you can't breathe and it's kind of overwhelming, you're not going to be a very nice person. You're not going to be a very happy person, healthy person, and it's going to be hard. So make it smaller. Have the big vision, and then chop it up into baby steps. So for my first marathon that I'm training for, I had this goal of running it at a certain pace, like a really fast pace. And I've been like going for it. And I said to Vish, I'm not doing that anymore. Because if I go for that pace on my first marathon, I know I'm going to be a really miserable person. Leading up to that marathon, I'm going to be a wreck. I'm going to put so much stress on myself. And that's not worth it. So I just bought myself time. I just made this playing field, this big game playing field. I just stretched it. I just said, I'm going to make it playable. So make the field playable through baby steps that are attainable, because that's how you build the confidence muscle. And I know sometimes we need reminders, but that's the thing of that's how you're going to get to taking the next step and the next step and the next step, instead of sabotaging your next step. So there you have it. You have your 10 big breaks to play a bigger game and persuade better. What happens when we don't do this? You have a responsibility, because there is a cost. There is a cost to you not playing your bigger game. What is that for you? And it's not only the fact that you don't get to be your fullest potential. I think there's a thing of the rewriting the story for other women to show, hey, this is possible for all of us. And it's for you to express your gifts with this world. Because that's a loss, is when you don't get to share your greatest gifts in the best way possible. So there's a lot to win. You help other women, you give value to the world, you know your value, you express your value. It's really strong, it's really powerful. So with that, I want to say, in the chat box, this is fun. I just thought about this. In the chat box, why don't you share what is your big break that you're going to take away with you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And maybe I need to remind you what they are. Number 1 was playing the movie. Because you can even just say the stuff. You don't have to give the number. Okay, Danita's taking because with her. The box breathing. Shauna's like, I want to be a Navy SEAL. calm and smooth. Get visible, Dory. Yes, love that. Show your value to the world. Okay, being intentional. The elevator pitch. Yes, go revisit the elevator pitch, Danielle. So powerful. I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow big boundaries. Yes, big girl boundaries. Yay. So I will be sharing with you the exercise. I would love for you to do the because exercise. Share with me your wins. Email me. I'm rooting for you. We've got this. Okay, here's my final line that I want to leave you with. I'm going to leave you with this. I wrote it down. Playing bigger doesn't mean being someone else. It doesn't mean performance, but it's just being more fully yourself, grounded, stable, and being that full expression of who you are. It will be uncomfortable. You will be criticized, you'll be judged, whether it's by your inner critic or by others. That's part of the narrative. But you've got this. And keep going, because we want to see you play bigger. And on that, I'm going to stop the recording, but I do want to say thank you so much for spending your lunch hour